Hello everyone, welcome to Azura Psych, and today we're going to be talking about the infamous INTJ Ni Fi Loop, or the Introverted Intuition Introverted Feeling Loop, which is essentially when the INTJ gets stuck using their introverted intuition alongside their introverted feeling, and they're not allowing themselves to correctly and healthily use their other functions. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how it manifests. Let's get into it. Before I get started talking about the Ni Fi loop, I need to clarify one thing, and it's that neither Briggs or Young used the term loop to describe anything in their books relating to the cognitive functions. It was something that was kind of created by the community to explain what they were noticing when someone was getting stuck in their first and their third function, and that's essentially what a loop is. Now, the interesting thing about the idea of a loop or getting stuck in this first and third function is that both of these functions are in the same attitude. So, for example, the INTJ has introverted intuition dominant and then tertiary introverted feeling. Both of these functions are introverted, and that's what causes the problem with the looping functions. You're getting stuck in either a loop of extroversion or introversion, which allows you to kind of get stuck in this mental process where you're not going to be able to see the other side of things. So, for example, if you're an introverted type and you're not allowing yourself to have any sort of objective extroverted perception or judgment to influence your decision making, you're going to be stuck in that full subjective interpretation. While if you're an extroverted type and you're getting stuck in extroversion, you're not going to be looking inwards to kind of find what's important to you or have those internal perceptions. And that's what causes the issues with the looping functions. So with the INTJ, their looping functions are again introverted intuition and introverted feeling. And what essentially happens when an INTJ gets stuck in this kind of loop with these two functions is that they're going to be trying to introverted intuition perceive their introverted feelings over and over again. And this will often manifest as the INTJ kind of playing out these types of scenarios in their head related to the things that are important to them or valuable to them in the introverted feeling realm, or something that may have even impacted them emotionally. They're going to kind of be replaying these kind of imaginary situations in their head, trying to come to some sort of solution to the problem they're facing. And that's how INTJs typically deal with their emotions anyway. They usually allow themselves to internally process what they're feeling and kind of work things through in their own head. But this can become a problem when the INTJ gets stuck in this loop and they never allow themselves to come to some sort of definitive conclusion about the thing that they're perceiving about their feelings. So, for example, if they get stuck up on an emotion and they're trying to eternally perceive how they could have done this thing better or how it could have worked differently or how they can come to some better conclusion than something that they thought of, they're never going to make that final decision and they're going to be stuck replaying this kind of imaginary scenario in their head. And what's important here is for them to kind of delve into the extroverted world when they get stuck in this loop. So if you're an INTJ and you're getting stuck in this position where you're perceiving your own feelings, essentially, you're getting stuck thinking about how something is bothering you and trying to come to some sort of conclusion, engaging in your extroverted functions is going to be the healthiest thing to help you get out of this loop. So this can either be extroverted thinking or extroverted sensing in the case of the INTJ. I think this is the greatest issue that all of the introverted types are going to face when they are stuck in some sort of loop, is that they're going to be stuck in a state of double introversion, and they're not allowing themselves to be engaging with the outer world in any healthy way. Which is to say that if you're stuck in Ni and Fi, you're not going to be using TE to find and organize information related to your problem, and you're not going to be using SE to kind of engage with new experiences that might help you come to better conclusions. So it's important for INTJs to go out and interact with the outer world if they find themselves stuck in this Ni-Fi loop. What's quite interesting in my opinion about the Ni-Fi loop for INTJs is that usually INTJs are very okay with that process of internalizing their emotions and just processing through things and then coming out the other side saying, okay, I know how I feel about this, I'm okay about this. So it's quite off-putting for other people to see an INTJ stuck in this Ni-Fi loop where they're unable to come to some sort of definitive conclusion about how they feel about something or a decision that they need to make. And it's important, again, for INTJs to go out into the external world to engage with something external if they want to kind of try and break this chain or this cycle of being stuck in the Ni-Fi loop. One way I think that the Ni-Fi loop can manifest for INTJs is that they might find themselves stuck in kind of a decision paralysis when it comes to difficult moral decisions. So INTJs have tertiary introverted feeling, and introverted feeling is quite important to them. They often feel that they have a great sense of identity. They often feel that they know themselves morally, who they are, how they should act, and they're usually going to act on these things. But this FI is not nearly as developed as you would find in, say, an ISFP or an INFP who has dominant introverted feeling. And it can get easy for an INTJ who is presented with a difficult moral decision to get stuck and try to introverted intuition perceive the outcomes related to this thing, or try to find the perfect moral outcome for them, instead of just acting on what is truly important to them as an individual. The FI dominants, when presented with some sort of difficult moral decision, are usually going to immediately make the decision that's important to them as an individual. They're not going to allow themselves to get stuck up on their perceptions related to this introverted feeling judgment. Now, the INTJ might find themselves stuck in this position if they are engaging with introverted feeling and they're not particularly adept at using it, or they haven't developed it in that stage of their life yet. I think one thing INTJs really tend to hate, especially in terms of FI decisions that they have to make, is a lose-lose situation. Because INTJs are quite gifted at finding win-win situations, and they will usually do their best to kind of make sure that they can do everything that they can to make sure that everyone involved is going to get a decent outcome that's going to help both of them succeed if they can do so. Now, when an INTJ is put into a position where they're not going to be allowed to have a win-win situation and they're instead forced to pick between the lesser of two evils, this can be really hard on the INTJ because it goes against everything that their psyche wants to do. Their psyche wants to find the best outcome. And if the best outcome is still a loss, this can throw the INTJ into that decision paralysis where they're saying, wait, no, maybe if I just gather a little bit more information, maybe if I just think about the situation a little bit longer, maybe if I just do something, I can find some sort of outcome that will allow everyone to at least win a little bit. But that isn't going to always be the case, and INTJs are going to be presented with lose-lose situations occasionally. And it's important to know that you have to make the decision that's important to you in these situations. You have to do the greater good, essentially. I wouldn't say you have to, because that boils down to ethics and morals, and I don't want to talk about that too much. But I think it's important for INTJs to maybe consult with other people, engage in that extroverted thinking, that extroverted sensing, talk to other people to get their insight and opinion on this decision that you're stuck in making. And if you can reinforce it through people who are knowledgeable to you, then you might be able to find a better solution and get out of the NI-FI loop where you're trying to perceive this situation on your own without any help. I don't even think INTJs need to go to other people or exclusively use, say, extroverted thinking to get out of an NI-FI loop. I think just engaging in a little bit of healthy extroverted sensing can also be really great for getting out of these NI-FI loops. So, for example, if I'm having a bad day or I'm stuck in some sort of place where I need to make a moral decision that is hard on me, I will usually take a walk, because even just engaging in a little bit of that repressed function, which is in the opposite attitude, can help all of the functions kind of work together a little bit. You're not going to be stuck inside of your own head if you're out on a walk and you're at least engaging in a little bit of the extroverted world. So doing these small steps at a time, making sure that you can engage in the extroverted realm just a little bit, is going to help you step out of being stuck in this super introverted state that you're in if you're in the NI-FI loop. And that's why I think it's so important for INTJs to either do something healthy related to extroverted sensing, or do something healthy related to extroverted thinking, like maybe seeking advice from a friend or looking for external sources that might be able to better inform you on this decision. Now, what you want to make sure you don't do if you're stuck in an NI-FI loop is use these extroverted functions as an escape from the problem that you're having, which is to say that if you're struggling with something internally NI-FI-wise and you use extroverted sensing as an escape from your problem, then you're just going to be in a worse state than you are already. Then you're going to have a problem and you're going to be avoiding that problem. Say, for example, you're having a stressful day and you decide to go binge on some food or alcohol, something related to that, and you just ignore your problem. This is also not going to be a good or healthy solution. So it's important, if you're stuck in this NI-FI loop, to use those two extroverted functions healthily, to do something healthy related to those extroverted functions, so then you can engage in the extroverted world in some way that's going to be meaningful and related to the problem that you're having, instead of just being stuck internally or using those extroverted functions as an escape. So, to kind of summarize, the NI-FI loop is when an INTJ gets stuck in a double introverted state where they're using introverted intuition and introverted feeling without allowing their extroverted functions to have any say or input into the problems that they are facing. And to get out of this, the INTJ needs to healthily engage with their two extroverted functions, one of the two at least. So either extroverted thinking via maybe seeking advice from somebody else or some external source that is valuable and important to them, or maybe engaging in some sort of healthy extroverted sensing activity, like going on a walk, working out, or just taking care of their immediate environment or their body altogether. Engaging in these extroverted functions in a healthy and meaningful way will allow the INTJ to get outside of this double introverted state, and then they'll be able to more completely use all of their functions together and kind of have a better perception around the issue that they're facing, and they'll come to a more holistic conclusion. All right, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this discussion. If you have any experience with the NI-FI loop, please let me know down in the comment section below, or if you want to tell a story you have related to that, that'd be fine too. I would like to remind everybody that I do have personality typing sessions available at my website, asurapsych.com, if you're interested in working with me to find out what your personality type is and what that means for you. This has been Asura at Asura Psych. Have a good one.